I apologize for the delay.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kristi Stifler on behalf of the state. We're here on number 7, Mario Fernandez, and number 8, Shanna Gardner. Next of kin is present on Zoom.
Does anyone know who Giorene Tanner is?
No, ma'am.
All right, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Jesse Dreiser. I represent Mr. Fernandez, along with Mr. Hill, Ms. Day, and Mr. Tassoni, who's present on Zoom.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I know there's counsel present via Zoom.
Yes, Your Honor, Michelle Medina on behalf of Ms. Gardner as well as Kirsten Nelson.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name.
Kirsten Nelson, she's also on the line.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, we have discussed with counsel for both teams. The state is planning to proceed with the separate trials as we always had planned, 2 separate juries. We're going to hold the trials back to back instead of simultaneously in looking at the order of proof. It's in the state's interest to do so. So we have cleared that with both teams. They are in agreement. We'll ask the court for a follow-up logistics meeting at some point in the next couple of weeks to discuss some ideas we have and finalize scheduling.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, so start from the top because this is different than what we talked about in the other meeting.
Yes, ma'am. And circumstances have changed since that meeting with the co-defendant withdrawing his plea and no longer testifying as a state witness. We believe that we can try Mr. Fernandez's case in about a week and a half, Ms. Gardner's case in about 2 weeks.
Picking the juries at the same time or not at the same time?
That is the state's hope. I don't believe the defense teams are in agreement with that. So we would plan to pick Mr. Fernandez's jury, try his case, and pick Ms. Gardner's jury at the conclusion of his case, try her case. We discussed with Mr. Dreiser this morning some ideas we have. We can float to the other team and discuss with the court about ways to ensure that potential jurors are not exposed to media unnecessarily, either through bringing panels in at the start and releasing them for 2 weeks and ordering them not to view media, or perhaps through summons, some kind of court order in their summons or some instructions in their summonses. But we can discuss that with the teams further and give the court our ideas.
But it will be 2 separate juries,
It's always,
Right,
always
it's-
going to be 2 separate.
just so that's clear.
Yes.
No, I always thought that.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
But,
We'll have 2 separate jury selections.
okay. And then Ms. Stifler is saying,
I don't know what that hope stuff about. We had an agreement that there's going to be 2 separate jury selections.
Yes, that is the agreement. We have some ideas. We will discuss them amongst each other, and we'd like a meeting with the court.
okay, can I hear from the attorneys from Ms. Gardner?
Good morning, Your Honor. I wasn't privy to the conversations. I believe Ms. Menashe was in contact with the state with regards to this topic, but it is our understanding, just like Mr. Dreiser indicated, that we would be in agreement with a severance and with 2 separate jury selections right after the conclusion of Mr. Fernandez's trial.
Ms. Menashe did email us acknowledging Ms. Gardner's team's agreement with this plan.
And we were privy to that as well. We were all on the same communication.
Okay, so let me look at my calendar, okay? Mr. Hathaway, so right now we have set aside August 10th for jury selection, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I ask this? So initially, the court schedule was August 10th, jury selection in both cases. And I was going to set aside the entire week meaning that if you all were able to select a jury earlier, I would still leave the time, meaning break the trial, then start the trial the following week. Is that still y'all's thought?
Yes, Your Honor.
So then the trial of Mr. Fernandez would begin. So the jury selection would be August 10th. His trial would be August 17th through the week of the 24th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you all discuss sealing or non-sealing?
We did not, but I assume it would proceed as a normal trial.
Okay, I'll discuss that matter later, but so as to not impact the second jury, my suggestion would be to seal and then publish at the same time. And then just summon the other jury when the other case concludes. They wouldn't be sequestered. They'd already reached a verdict. Then I would seal the verdict until the other case concludes. And then I publish both at the same time.
Certainly, we can discuss that. My concern actually was not with the jury being sequestered, and I appreciate that they wouldn't, but my concern is that if Mr. Fernandez is found not guilty, he's staying in custody for an additional 2 or 3 weeks. That does concern me, and I'd like to at least research that and have a more finite discussion on that when we do our logistics meeting. I'm not saying I don't agree. I just am not saying I agree either. I see some concern.
So there's if you want me to publish, then what I would do is I would set aside more time for Ms. Gardner for jury selection and some more jurors. That's, if you don't want to seal it, I understand your concern. So if you don't want to seal it, then I'd double the amount of Ms. Gardner's jury panel. And then I'd set aside more time to pick her jury because it would take longer.
That's something that we can all consider and let Your Honor know which we prefer.
Well, I'm going to do it now. I'm done with this. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to reserve the time now because my calendar is filling up. When I cleared those dates, I started setting trials. So I don't want to try to scramble around and move trials in other cases. So I'm going to do it now. So this is my thought. Okay. So
That's fine.
What's fine?
That we make the decision now and that we are sticking with our proposal that
Don't seal.
that we don't seal.
All right. It'll just make the second case harder to pick.
I'm sorry.
That's not your fault. I'm just saying, like, I need to logistically plan for that. Like, I can't try to crunch it and then not have enough time. That is a nightmare. It's better to reserve more time and not need it than need the time and not reserve it. So, Mr. Hathaway, stick with me, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
August 10th will be the full week. That is August 10th through August 14th will be the jury selection in the state versus Mario Fernandez, okay? His trial will be scheduled August 17th through August 28th, okay? If you all finish early, okay. I can meet with the Gardner case if need be to handle any issues that may or may not arise. Okay, if you don't, then you'll have the time. Then Shanna Gardner's case, and you all, Ms. Medina, speak up, okay, if this is not acceptable. My thought would be that we would schedule her jury selection the entire week, working full days in that case, August 31st through September 4th. It's actually good because September 7th is a holiday, and if we don't finish, I can bring up the court. Normally we would completely be down, but if we needed the extra day, it would be built in. Then I can always bring up, and I could also, if it becomes a true issue, I can work into the weekend. I'll ask the chief judge for that permission. Okay. And then, it will be a week. Again, if you all finish early, great. You'll have the time to work. If you don't, then we'll have the weekend into the holiday weekend. Okay. And then we would start the trial September 8th. And what's the thought between the parties of how long Ms. Gardner would take? A week, 2 weeks?
I think 2 weeks. Yes, Your Honor, until the 18th, if you want to block that off. I have a better sense from the Fernandez team about how long the trial will take than I do from the Gardner team. I will talk to them, and if we need additional time, if they think they're going to need additional time for their case, they can let me know, and we can let the court know.
I can always take, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Medina.
Yeah, I personally would rather be conservative and ask for 3,
Okay.
just to be safe.
We can,
I can always take it off.
yes, we can book it through the 23rd.
All right. So are you still with me, Mr. Hathaway?
Yes, Your Honor.
So jury selection,
Yeah.
August 31st through the 4th. Gardner's trial, September 8th through September 25th. Okay.
And Your Honor, a number of jurors for each panel?
Give me a second to do some math.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
250 for Mr. Fernandez. Do y'all have any objections to that? I would summon them in 100 panels, like 100 jurors at a time.
That's fine. Certainly don't need more than that.
That's very I think a conservative estimate. I don't think we'll need that many, but
250.
I'm in agreement.
All right. For Gardner, 500. 100 every single day. So it'd be 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon, 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon until we get a set panel that you all agree to. If we get to the questioning panel, I'd excuse the other ones. Okay. So it would be the same plan, meaning we would spend essentially the first days using high publicity hardships only so we can get through the panels. It would be 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon, 50 in the morning until we get to the seated panel. And then those that aren't excused for those reasons would get a questionnaire to fill out before they leave. And then they would be coming back on the day if we get an idea of how many jurors. Okay. And I'll work that out at a later date. So 500 for Ms. Gardner, 250 for Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. You want to keep the other dates?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We have, just for the court's information, we have depositions set. We've taken a couple rounds since our last court date. We have depositions tomorrow, April 13th, April 16th, April 23rd, 24th, 29th, 30th, and May 4th. And then we have a motion deadline this Friday, as well as time set aside the week of May 11th. The 13th, we have Mr. Fernandez's motion set. And and I will get with Ms. Schlacks about setting Mr. Tennant's motion that week as well.
Okay.
I've not received the Gardner motions yet.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. We had no indications that there was a motions deadline for this Friday. We had a date for May 4th for evidentiary hearings, but I was having difficulties finding anything written.
No,
It was
I think it was just verbal agreement, Ms. Medina. So it wasn't anything. Okay. I think we just discussed it so that you all would have the time. So I'm not sure if you all are contemplating any evidentiary motions.
we are.
Okay. How long do you think you need?
I see. I would say at least a week, Your Honor,
That's fine
to
with
be
the
able to
state.
follow them.
Okay. I want to give the state whatever you file. I want to be able to, because we were going to handle it that time in May. But obviously I've got, this case is a priority. So if y'all needed more time or a different date, I would make the time. So why don't y'all discuss it? And we can come back if you want, or you can just let me know.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
What do you want to do?
I will get. I can get back to the court today.
Sure, I'll speak with Ms. Medina. If they can get me their motions by next week, that should be sufficient time for me to get whatever witnesses I need and prepare. I mean, I have 3 different defendants and 3 different motions, so I would like time to make sure I'm prepared for all 3 defendants' motions with whatever necessary witnesses I need. But if she's asking for the end of next week, that should be fine.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know if something changes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Of course, of course.
So what's the next date, Mr. Hathaway?
Your Honor, the 13th for Mr. Fernandez is our hearing on motion date.
May 13th, yes.
You want to just go to that date? Is that fine?
We
Yes,
can
ma'am.
for Fernandez, and for Gardner, we can do we had a May 4th to be set, I believe.
Right.
Was
When I-
that,
When I receive her motion, maybe we could coordinate a date certain and email the court.
I'm okay with that.
are you still in trial with Judge Fine?
So that is, we're in talks right now, Your Honor, with the state.
Okay. Because I thought
Unfortunately, the judge has not set dates yet for arguing motions, but all that has been submitted. So we're just waiting for a date on that. And then I'm sure by that point, the judge is going to want to know whether it's going to proceed on the 27th or not.
on the 27th. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And it's still a death case.
all right. So what do you want to do about, I don't want to conflict with his schedule. That is, myself and Judge Fine are teaching together. I do have that date. So we're teaching together on the 18th through the 22nd. So we'll both be out that week. And then I guess he's coming back to that trial on the 26th or 27th.
27th.
Miss Medina.
So it would have to be, I guess, the week of, hold on. So the week of the 11th.
Right. Do you want me to call him?
Sure. That would be helpful because we still don't have a status, like I said, a status date on that.
All right, court will be in recess. Yes.
Alrighty. So that was pretty wild. What's happening is there were always going to be 2 juries in this trial, one for Shanna, one for Mario, right? But they were going to run it all in one gigantor trial with 2 juries in the room, all the same evidence presented to both, one assigned to each defendant. Now they've decided to fully sever. So these trials will be back to back. Mario first, starting, his jury selection starts on August 10th. Trial starts on August 18th. And then jury selection for Shanna starts on August 31st, and trial starts on September 8th. So this is going to be, yeah, like the Menendez brothers, right, Jules? But now they've separated them completely because there's this other huge situation that's happened. Henry Tenon, who is the man charged with the actual murder of Jared Bridegan, he's the hitman, has withdrawn his plea. So he had initially pleaded guilty in 2023 to second-degree murder, and he had agreed to cooperate against Shanna Gardner Fernandez and Mario Fernandez-Saldana, and it was going to be, he had a reduced sentence for that. Well, a lot has changed in this case and how they're handling this case since 2023. And so his attorneys have gotten nervous that in testifying, he might basically break his plea deal. And so now they're pulling back and saying, just kidding, we want to withdraw that plea. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen. One problem is this, that he's already made all kinds of statements. Oh, yes, that is actually Sandy right there. And it was B too. He's already made all these statements to investigators. And so his defense team is trying to say, we don't want any of that in. We're pulling all this back. I don't know if they'll let him do that or not. That's pretty wild. I also don't know if they might rewrite his plea, if he would take a new plea, or if he's going to go to trial. All of this is happening right now. This case is such a disaster. It has been a disaster from the very beginning. But, it was like, I think that they thought they really had the, shooter nailed down, and now they don't. So they're having to completely change tack on the way that they're going to prosecute these cases, and they've decided to sever them. It's a lot. It's really a lot happening. That's going to be wild, because most of August and September will be wrapped up here on this channel with these two trials. I'm blown away, honestly. And will they be able to use Tenon's statements that he's already made against these guys, even if he's withdrawn his plea deal? I don't know the answer to that. It's not so much that he is saying that he didn't do it. He just doesn't like the terms of his plea based on where the case is now. He could face life without parole for the murder of Jared Bridegan if he goes to trial. And he had initially pleaded to second-degree murder, which would give him potential for parole. Yes, so many trials are happening at the same time. I know it's a lot of it is, I got to figure out what I'm going to juggle and how I'm going to do it. I had thought I would do both of these trials, but now I don't know. I mean, we're definitely more focused on Shanna Gardner Fernandez than we are on Mario. But it seems kind of weird to stream one and not the other. I don't know. You guys, what do you think? Are you interested in seeing Mario's trial? I mean, this is starting to feel like a Chad and Lori kind of situation, right? Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow sort of situation. This hearing reminded me of their hearings when Katie and I used to go to Fremont County, tiny little Fremont County courthouse, when their cases were still linked, and so many attorneys, so much arguing going on. It was really a lot. And this felt like that today. So I think pretty clear that the judge has had enough of this. When they're like, well, we can have another hearing to discuss it. She's like, no, we're doing this now. I am done with this. So we have some hard dates. Sounds like, yeah, there you go, Jules. Right. If there's something else happening that we've been following more closely, then we may not stream Mario. We will definitely stream Shanna. So yeah, I'll do some calendar research right now and figure out what that's going to look like. I think currently it isn't conflicting, but it could. One thing that does conflict is that it might not because of the time zone difference. The next hearing, at least for Mario, is May 13th. That is also the date of sentencing for Corey Richens. And, the reality is I can stream more than one thing at a time. So I could have them both up. But that hearing may actually be over before Corey's sentencing begins because of the time zone difference. So we shall see. I'm also kind of confused because the judge was so abrupt with ending right there that I thought she was just going to go like call that other judge and work on scheduling and come back. But I am not sure. Have Shanna and Mario turned against each other? That's a good question. Because this whole thing was going to be completely different when their co-conspirator testified against both of them. Now their cases, they've got to prove these cases separately. And that, it changes everything. This reminds me of really a lot of when they severed the cases between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. Like, their defense teams then started looking at this a different way. They haven't publicly turned against each other as far as legally is concerned, but now their interests are really diverging. Because if they don't have the hitman's statements, they have to prove this all in a different way. So we shall see. They're not like, there's no like public blaming of each other at this point, but they definitely, with their trials severed, it's going to be a lot different. So we shall see. So I'm going to hang out here for a few more minutes to see if the judge is coming back. This stream is still live, but it's pointed at the ceiling instead of at the seal. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening. So I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes to see if they are going to return to finish up the scheduling or not. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm very glad that this hearing was streamed, and I'll be staying on all of this for sure for Shanna. I got to talk to Katie, see what we want to do as far as Mario is concerned. And it's true that if there's something that we've been following more closely happening during the time of his trial, we may not stream it, but we will certainly be streaming Shanna's trial. Gotta stick with those Utah Mormon adjacent type cases, and this is definitely one of them. So I'll be back with you if something else happens.